Welcome back, everybody. I am your host, and we're back working on Maxine. Moment of truth. Alright, everybody. Today is the last day that Maxine will be on this body with this engine and trans. Today we're going to tear her all apart so we can start doing fitment on this bad boy. Motor's temporarily sat there. Trans is in place temporarily. I don't have any of the clutch or the flywheel of any of that there. It's just strictly for placement. And then transfer case. That way I can start getting my measurements for my drive shafts to get shortened. On this side, probably gonna have to do something with this cross member. We're gonna start the teardown process so that we can get it onto this bad boy. Yesterday we got the car completely dismantled. It is completely loose and floating. I've got 2 points right there, and we are going to get the wheels and tires off this frame onto that frame with the help of my wife.
It's wow, wow, wow.
Start making sure the firewall is gonna be good without having to cut everything. Get the trans tube cut for my shifter, and then see what I've got to build up for the frame, and get the body mounts and all of everything prepped. Go from there.
Let's do this!
This is just temporary, but we'll go through everything that I gotta fix real quick. The motor sits like this, and the body's like that. And so I don't know if 24 valves have a different mounting surface than the 12 valves do, but the bolts are all the way down on both sides, and the motor still sits not only unlevel, but you can also see that it kicks in too. I might have to chop that off and lower it, and also bring it forward some. Front to back, we're gonna be super tight, because you can see right here, I'm only about an inch away. And if you come back here, I'm about an inch off of center. I gotta come forward just a little bit. And so that's gonna be super tight against that firewall. You can see up here, the body's floating higher than I want it to. The shock is sitting too high, so I'm gonna have to lower that shock tower, get rid of these brackets, and then all these body mounts are gonna have to get shortened. I'll be adding in this C channel right here, bring the frame up, because I hate it when people put cars on truck bodies and you can see daylight all the way through them.
I can't stand that stuff. Drives me crazy!
Oh,
Crazy!
easy, buddy, easy.
These have to come off right there, not using those anymore. Gonna have to build a mount for the body mount that's gonna come across the top of those. This turbo, I might have to change this setup. I can clock the turbo just a little bit more. So I was hoping to go out the hood as well as have a full tube. So if I wanted to get rowdy, I'd open a butterfly damper and have it come out the hood. But as you can see, that's my heater motor. We're in Utah, and if I want to use this car more than 4 months out of the year, I want a heater. Tires poke out just a little bit farther than they did. I think I'm overall about 4 inches wider. They do fit pretty dang perfect. I won't have any rub issues. Got about 3/4 of an inch right there. Won't have any rub issues through any of that. So I'm gonna have to redo the rear bumper again. And here is a beautiful example of when people say, how could I destroy just such a nice car? It's because of all that, all this. The trunk's been halfway replaced, all that. I mean, it was not a showroom car by any means. Also, I gotta get spacers for up front, just like inch, maybe 1.5 inches, because when this is at full lock, it hits that arm on both sides. And on the rear, I'm gonna have to get just about a 1/2 inch longer studs. I don't think I'm gonna be able to use the fan. I wanted to, but I think my radiator is gonna need to be about right here to fit into the body. And I don't wanna do the thing where you cut the fenders and extend the hood. I'd rather have everything factory-ish looking. I did tonight was cutting, and if you look under there, now I got about 1.5 inch gap there, which is perfect once I get my body bushing in there. Right here is exactly what I wanted to see. I wanted that as low as possible, so that back here I didn't have to add a bunch of material, because right now, I mean, there's about, I don't know, 3 to 4 inches right there, which I can add the 5th wheel plate back there, and that'll take up a good chunk of that. But yeah, it's pretty good, really. So still got to cut these out, and then I got to build a mount that comes across here to this body point right there. But it's about perfect for the last time that I did it. I just did a piece of C-channel, comes across here, and then had the body bushing right there. And then if we go up here, I mean, I don't see how I can get any better than that. I mean, there's about 3/4 of an inch there. There's room there, and over here the exhaust still has a good amount of clearance to this. Obviously I'm gonna have to wrap it so that that doesn't catch fire if I get it going too hot. But really, I'm actually super excited with this, because we'll have to push this back just a little bit, just right there. But other than that, I mean, you can't ask for much better. I just barely have to tap that in with a hammer, no big deal. But once I drop this motor mount, who knows, that might push me far enough that I won't even need to do that. So, well, I've been slacking and I haven't been filming much, but I've got a lot done. So we'll go through it real quick. I built these front body mounts. I did build these race frame section, make the bottom level so that the car mounts up. Body mount there, front corner over there, and that guy there. And then this cross member, the body was hitting there, so I had to get rid of that. Add in this cross member to keep everything nice and square and make sure that the frame doesn't bend in. I got this trans mount built, got the transfer case remounted. I also got my measurements for my drive shafts front and rear, which I'm gonna take to go get made. And the biggest thing that took me forever to do is, if you look now, the motor is level. It's no longer tipped way up. I didn't know this at the time, but this frame had a 24 valve in it, and 24 valve body mounts are straight across from each other. 12 valve body mounts, your driver's side is higher than your passenger side, so everything was kicked way off. So if you look down in here, I had to drop this motor mount. I think that's everything that I got you caught up on now. Good morning. Okay, so today working on putting the fifth wheel hitch in. I removed it from over the axle. That's where it's best if it's there, because you're going to be dispersing the weight dead center over your wheels. Obviously I'm not going to be able to do that because I would be putting the trailer through my back windshield. So I've got to put it here on the back end of the frame. And with that being said, I'm not going to be able to tow quite as much weight as if it were over the axle, but still want to have it, still want to do it. So we're going to get that prepped, everything in, and get it welded on. We're going to get to it. Everything welded front and back, so that it was able to get plenty of heat into it. It's not going to be the only thing that I'm going to do, obviously, but for here I've got to build in my bumper as well, the bracket that's going to attach the bumper to the frame. And so when I do that, I'll build a plate that comes up kind of like these. I've got the tabs that come in between and mount to there and there, so that way everything's one unit, so that the bumper and everything's tied together and everything's nice and strong. Since I can't mount the body quite yet because I'm still waiting for the throwout bearing, I'm going to undo all this and take the engine out, because you can see I've got to come in here and rebuild this cross member. That's the next item of business. We had to thin this out some in order to get that oil pan to clear. So I've got a 1/4-inch plate that runs all the way in here to about here, all the way past here. Then I did these triangles and the plates that go across them to reinforce it. And then I'm gonna go back through and put underneath a piece of angle iron or 3/8 strap that goes all the way across here to keep that nice and rigid in there. Even though with the bumper it's gonna go across here, it's not gonna allow that frame to tweak or do anything, but just as extra measure, we'll make sure that that's nice and strong. We got the new shocks in. These are the Rancho RS 9000 XLs. They're supposed to be the beefier version of the adjustables from Rancho. Everything's cruising right along. So that is all for this episode. Thanks for everybody who watched and got to this point. I really appreciate it. Next video, we're gonna be finishing things up. We're gonna get the body all mounted and we're gonna get a test fire and get to drive it. So stick around for that one and I appreciate you. Thanks guys.